What's up, everybody? Will, aka Dr. Profit. We have Thursday Night Football, and we have been red hot. Not only did we cash the parlay for last Monday Night Football, we also cashed it for Sunday Night Football. We're going for 3 in a row today, and we have a great game. We got the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to break everything down, and we're going to give you the parlay at the end. Let's get into it. Welcome back in, everybody. As you can see, JJ is unfortunately not with me today. Completely unexpected. He lost some power today, so I'm taking over. We did cook up the parlay. We analyzed everything together. I'm just the only one on the video. So let's get into it. To start things off, the Bengals offense. They're going against the Ravens defense that have been horrible against the pass and elite against the run. What does that mean? Well, T. Higgins is out, so that hurts the pass game. And they just acquired Khalil Herbert in a trade, probably to replace Zach Moss a little bit, who is injured. So expect Khalil Herbert, who is officially active, to cut into Chase Brown's work a little bit, going against an elite Baltimore defense where not a single running back has even got 60 yards against them this season. Not looking good for Chase Brown. As far as the passing game goes, like I said, Baltimore has been horrible against the pass. They run a lot of single high coverage, and for whatever reason, very uncharacteristically of Baltimore, they have not been able to get much pressure to the quarterback. All this is added up to tight ends doing really, really well against them. And what gets really interesting there is Mike Gesicki in games without T. Higgins has been absolutely elite, especially in these matchups. Let me give you guys some data real quick. So against single high coverage without T. Higgins, like I said, the Ravens run 53% targets per out run, 5.25 yards per out run, and a 32% targets per out first read share. All better than Jamar Chase. Against no pressure, again without T. Higgins, for Mike Gesicki, 40% targets per out run, 3.7 yards per out run, and 26% first read share. For context, that 2021 Cooper Kupp season, not even close to those numbers. 31% targets per out run and 3.3 yards per out run. He's no Cooper Kupp, but that just goes to show you how much they're using him. The only issue with Mike Gesicki is snap share. Even last game without T. Higgins, only 36% snap share. I think the game before was 50%. So they like to use him, but they don't keep him on the field often. It'll be interesting to see what happens this week. With how well he's been playing, it only makes sense that they keep using him more, especially in a matchup like this. So, breaking down the Bengals one more time real quick. Not good for Chase Brown with the addition of Khalil Herbert and a horrible matchup. And Baltimore's pass defense has been horrible. Mike Gesicki is the best target, but Jamar Chase has always found success against them. He's never a horrible option. As far as the Ravens offense goes, this is where things get really interesting because the Bengals have been horrible against the pass and the rush this season. And there's some new additions to the offense. Deontay Johnson has been added to the receiving corps he was traded for in the middle of last week. Last game against Denver, he only played 17 snaps. It was a blowout, and he probably didn't learn much of the playbook, so only 6 of those plays were pass plays, didn't receive a single target. Expecting a little bit of a jump this week. If I had to guess, I'd say 30 snaps with about 20 of them being routes. His betting line is 20.5. That should be enough. Like when we think about Deontay Johnson and who he is as a player, he's already had success against this Bengals secondary earlier in the season when he was with Carolina, so he's shown that he can perform against them. So 20.5, I think that's a line that you could bite on. But in terms of how that's going to affect Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Mark Andrews, I don't think it'll affect them much. One, because again, his route share or his snap share and route share are both still low. And 2, because Isaiah Likely is out. So I think all that stuff cancels out. I think what Zay Flowers, Bateman, and Mark Andrews have been doing, I think they will continue to do here. As far as the matchup, like we said, the Bengals also run a lot of single high coverages. And in terms of how the Baltimore receivers have done against it, Zay Flowers, 31% targets per out run, 3.7 yards per out run, 33% first read share. Elite numbers. And Bateman has had a good season. You'd think that he'd be next up. You would be wrong. His numbers are not good against single high. 14% targets per out run, 1.13 yards per out run, and 15.5% first read share. Not looking good for him. Mark Andrews, on the other hand, 18% targets per out run, 1.6 yard per out run, and 13.4% yards per out first read share. So nothing crazy, but he hasn't been having a crazy season, so kind of up to par with him. So Zay Flowers is still a great target in this matchup, and Deontay Johnson's lines are pretty low. As far as the rush game, we expect Derrick Henry to continue to dominate. He did that in the first matchup. The only thing that adds a little twist to things is Keaton Mitchell might play. And we know how electric he was last season for those who watch. So it'll be interesting to see whether he cuts into more Justice Hill or Derrick Henry or both. Or maybe they just say, hey, we're not going to use him this much in this week anyways. He just came back. We're going to save him more for future weeks and he'll only get 1 or 2 carries. I don't have the answer. There hasn't been much reports about it. So just something to think about when you're putting your plays in. And one more detail that I want to shout out my boy Matty Chucks with. He found this system that 9 of 9 Thursday Night Football winners have had their kicker hit 2 field goals. So if you're interested in that, you can go and take Justin Tucker to hit 2 field goals. All that being said, it's parlay time. In the first leg, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to go Baltimore money line. Yeah, it seems like the easy pick. They're minus 270, but there's a pretty good system supporting it. So we're not going to think twice about it, and we're going to put it in. Next up, Mike Gesicki, 50 plus receiving yards. Now, I know I said he hasn't been on the field much, but when somebody's performing that good, you have to assume they're going to put him on the field more. His numbers are unreal against or just games without T. Higgins, and tight ends have been killing Baltimore all season. It's one of those plays where if I don't put it in a play and I watch it happen, I'm going to be mad at myself. So we put it in the parlay. And the last one, you guys are going to hate. Lamar Jackson under 49.5 rush yards. And before you guys go crazy on me, he's been dealing with both knee and back issues since last week. And versus Denver, again, a little bit of a blowout, but he only had 3 rush attempts. Versus the Bengals, he's been over the sun in his last 5 games. However, the last 4 games, he's fallen right between 50 and 60 yards. So if you tell me that these injuries will lead to 1 less rush attempt, he's probably going under the sun. So playing the injury narrative a little bit, the matchup doesn't have as much to do with it. It's more just looking at the historical lines, looking at what's happening recently, and the injury report. I think under 49.5 makes a lot of sense, especially with Derrick Henry back there. They don't need him to run if he doesn't have to. They can just hand it off to Henry or Keaton Mitchell, who's now involved. So make sure you lock that in. You can only pair these 3 on ESPN bet for the best odds. It's plus 450 without the boost. We were able to add a 50% boost on top of it, but you can find this on DraftKings and FanDuel as well for lower odds, so make sure you go and check that out. Other than that, we're going for 3 straight cashes. Hopefully we can do it, and I want you guys to tail with me, so make sure you lock this in, because if we hit 3 in a row, I want everybody going crazy. I want everybody making money. So like and subscribe if you haven't already. I promise you guys JJ will be with me on the next video. Otherwise, good luck if you're tailing, and I'll see you guys on the next show.